Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, my name is Tanisha and I love taking you along on my reading journey. And today I'm going to do an updated book journal video. I have done this video once before in April. I don't want you to feel obligated to watch the first video in order to see every single page that I have in my book journal. So I have decided to just talk about all the pages that I have, maybe tell you what pages I changed and what pages are still the same. Let's just start with talking about the journal that I have. I personally use this lavender bullet journal. It has dotted paper. I will put the specs on the screen and also link a similar notebook down below. I don't use heavy markers, so I have never experienced any bleed through, but if you think you're going to use heavy markers, I would suggest using a notebook that has thicker paper, because I'm using the Tombow markers and they don't bleed through, but I don't think I can use any markers that are heavier than those. So let's start with the first page, which is completely filled in. I didn't change anything on this page except for filling in all the books, because I have read over 55 books now. My goal was to read 55 books in 2025 and I hit that goal. It is now July 28 and I have read 64 books. And in this first page I had drawn 55 books, just enough to fill them all in order to reach my reading goal. I think in my last video I said I drew 65, but it was 55. So all the books on this page are filled in and colored, and the color of the books says something about the rating that I have given the books. And as you can see, there is a lot of green, so that means I have given a lot of books 4 or 5 stars. The next spread is my monthly tracker as well as my genre Tetris. In the monthly tracker I have drawn a bookshelf for every single month, and I color in the amount of books that I have, and the color of the books says something about the thickness of the books, because I thought it would be fun to give a visual overview about how many books I read every month and also how thick those books are. And as you can see, I read a lot of books that are between 300 and 500 pages, but I've also been reading more books that are less than 300 pages, and those are mostly the Shopaholic series books, because those are not that long. And I've also been reading some non-fiction books that are not that long. The book Tetris also says a lot about my reading habits, because I have been reading quite some romance books. Most of the books that I read are more contemporary books that have some romance in them, and they are tagged as romance books on Goodreads. These are not the heavy smut book romances that you might see on other channels, but I have been reading a lot of contemporary romance books, so that's why there are a lot of pink boxes in here. But as you can see, it is halfway filled. I hope I have enough space to use this page for the rest of the year, but if not, I will just make a second page that has a book Tetris or something else that tracks genres. Next up is my 2025 TBR. These are the 25 books that I want to read in 2025. I have used the Dutch door method to show every single book in just one spread, instead of having to flip through multiple pages to show every single book that I want to read this year. And I've made quite some progress on this page. The last time I showed this spread was in April and I had read 4 books, and I have now read 12 and I'm reading the 13th. So I have done quite a lot of reading from this TBR, and I still have a couple of them on my August TBR, which you can see in my last video. So I think I'm doing an amazing job. Next up is my series tracker, and I have changed this page. It used to look like this, but I didn't really like it. I tried my best to just accept the fact that it wasn't perfect, but I just couldn't get over it, I guess. It bothered me so much that I just changed it, and I didn't change it that long ago. I think last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, and I like this version way better than the original series tracker that I had. A page that I didn't change but have been making progress on is my alphabet challenge. I have filled in quite some letters. There are still 7 letters that I haven't ticked off yet, but I'm positive that I'm going to be able to finish this challenge before the end of the year. Next up is my physical TBR page. This is my physical TBR that I had on January 1st, and my goal is to read at least 50% of this page. I have not read 50% yet, but I'm trying to make progress. But one thing that is holding me back a bit from finishing books on this page is what is hidden behind this page, because this physical TBR opens up to my bookshelf editions page. And these are all the books that I have acquired this year, so either bought, thrifted or got given. So as you can see, my physical TBR has been adding up, but I also have been reading a lot of those. So technically, I have been making progress on my physical TBR, but I have also been adding books to my TBR, so I don't know what I think about this. But my current physical TBR is 36 books, and I started this year with 38 books, so I'm still doing better than at the beginning of the year, but I still have to cut that number in half. Let's continue. Next up is my reading bingo, and this one has been filled in except one prompt. I still haven't read Greek mythology, and this is one of my favorite pages just because of all the colors that I've used. Next up is my book ranking page. These are all of the books that I enjoyed the most for every single month, and those books are in kind of a competition with each other to see what book was my favorite book of the year. So as you can see, I have filled in my favorite book for the first half of the year. I will put a close-up on screen so you can see what books are still in the running to be my favorite book of 2025. But the first finalist is already chosen, and that was Want to Watch by Kate Stayman London. That book is one of the best books that I have read so far, so that's why it has been winning every single time. And after the book ranking page, there are 5 months worth of themed pages. So you have January, where I have a pink and blue theme. February, that has a lovey-dovey heart theme. March, that has a party theme. April, that has a spring theme. And May, that has a stars 90s theme. And after May, I made some new pages that I will be using until the end of the year. I made a new bingo page because I only have one prompt left in my original bingo, so I decided to make a newer one, and I have made some progress in it, but these prompts are a little bit harder to tick off, so we'll see how far I get. And I also made a page to track the format that I read in, so every time I read a paperback, an ebook, a hardcover or an audiobook, I will fill in a box and we'll see how much I read of each. And so far, ebooks have been winning and paperbacks is a close second. Then I have another shelf page where I fill in the books that I read and I color them in based on the rating that I give them. I tried to make this page as fun as possible again with the shelves, the plant, the globe, stuff like that. And next to it, I have made a new challenge where I try to read a book out of every single year between 1992 and 2025. And this is just to see how diverse I read in terms of publication year. And I feel like I'm doing quite a good job. I personally thought that most of the books that I was reading were either from 2025 or 2024. But as you can see, I have even read a book from the year 2000. Next up is my June page. And I think this theme is one of my favorites. I chose an ocean theme and I got this idea from Pinterest. After the June page, I made a new series tracker because I was running out of space in the first one, and I actually made this one before I redid the first one, so that's why the theme is not the same, and I might redo this one to match the first one, but for now this is what it looks like. And then you have my summer TBR, which you can hear all about in this video, and as you can see, I have read 4 out of the 12 books that are on my summer TBR. Next up is my July page, which has a pink and purple theme. Every month I make a new theme, but the base pages are normally the same. I always have a title page, a reading log, and a calendar. One thing that I have added this month was a page tracker for each day, but I will show you that in a second. But first, let's talk about the pages that I normally make. On the left you'll see my reading log, which shows you the book that I read, the rating that I gave it, the author, the day I finished the book, and also the page number. And I also track the genres on this page, the amount of books and also the amount of pages. And at the end of the month I will write down my favorite quote. On the right you will see the calendar. This calendar is for me to keep track which book I finished on which day. I started doing this calendar page in March, but back then I would color in the days that I would read a book to see how long it would take me to finish a book. But I've noticed that I like it way better if I only color in the day that I finished a book. And like I said, I've also made a July page tracker page, and here I keep track of how many pages I read each day. I've been having a lot of fun with coloring the days in, and the numbers that is written on the bars is correlating with the book on the reading log page. The last theme that I have so far in this reading journal is my August page, where I have a picnic theme. I've also made a TBR, which I picked in this video, and I also have an August calendar page, but I try to make it look like a newspaper with breakfast. And on the last spread I have my page tracker and also my reading log. I'm not planning on doing the page tracker every single month, but I thought now that I don't have school in July and August, it would be fun to see how many pages I read each day. And those are all the pages in my reading journal. I have been having so much fun keeping this reading journal. I never thought that I would still use it this far along in the year. I started using this journal at the end of January, and I honestly thought that I was just going to do it for 1 or 2 months and probably get tired of it after that. But it is almost August and I'm still having so much fun keeping track of this reading journal. My favorite thing after finishing a book is getting to my reading journal and getting to update all the pages. Some people only update their reading journal every month or every week, but I do it every single time I finish a book. That's just how I like it. But if you don't have time to do it every single time you finish a book, just do it whenever you have time. You can do it every week, every month, every quarter, just when you feel creative. It is up to you. That's why a reading journal is so personal. So yeah, if you have been thinking about starting a reading journal, just do it because it is so much fun. And I hope that I have given you the inspiration that you need to start. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Comment down below what your favorite theme is, and I will see you in my next video whenever I post it. Bye!